Fucking head was that. Go ahead and delete the E.
It's been about 2 weeks since we showed the Aston. We finally got it back for paint. The paint shop did a great job with it. I'm very happy with it. Right now, we're just at a monotonous point in working on this car where we're waiting for some parts to come in, so we can't do a whole lot with it today that's going to be interesting. So I decided we're going to take a field trip. We're going to go visit my friend Alan and see some of his Ducatis in his house. Field trip. Going to deliver this black S600 here to a customer named Alan. Good guy. We don't normally deliver cars to customers' houses, but it's a special car and he's a cool guy, so I don't
mind. Your destination is on the left.
Rossi? He's huge. What kind of dog is he?
He's a South African Border Mastiff.
Yeah.
Like the pup inside, because he'll start jumping on you. But the pup is, he doesn't know his size yet. You can meet him. This is Simo Kelly. Say hi. Say hi. Oh, look at you. 5 months. Oh, look at you. So he's got the gene. He's got the crazy gene. So his granddad is 229 pounds, and his dad is 209 at 2 years old.
Damn.
Yeah. So
my pit bull's only like 60 pounds.
this is basically the Super Leggera, which they brought out in 2014, and it's a bike that super light. That's what Super Leggera means in Italian, and literally it rides like a 400cc. On steroids, 228 horsepower to the rear wheel, and phenomenal bike. It's like you can't get better. Only now better's come out. They've done a V4, which is a couple of horsepower more, a little bit more torque, and the bike is super light like this one. It's a pretty incredible bike.
How does it handle on the roads? Just normal riding? I mean,
normal riding. You're on a super bike. Yeah. Basically, so it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for just a regular rider, or even a more experienced rider will probably screw up. It'll bite you. There's so much horsepower you get on the gas. Yeah. It'll if you're leaned over a little bit, the rear tire will break out if it's not hot enough. You don't have the right temperatures in it, and suspension, geometry, everything is set for the rider. So. There's so many aspects to racing. You can go fast on a racetrack, or you can go very fast on a racetrack, and the fine lines is the setup on the bike for the rider as well. I'll be 2 seconds slower if it's straight out of the box, because I know I just can't push the tires that far. But the GP tires that we put on these, the race tires, they're specific to race. When we go to different tracks in the country or around the world, it's a specific tire. Some of them have 5 compounds on the rear. Just from soft to medium to hard to medium to soft, or soft to medium, depending on the track and depending on how the tire company designed the tire for the horsepower of the bikes and what our bikes are capable of doing. So when you just see a rider out there and he's just going hard, there's a lot to it.
The adrenaline must be insane.
It is, yeah. It's adrenaline. It's normal to us when we're out there doing it, and we're having a lot of fun. I'm singing Metallica in my helmet while I'm doing it, and I'm enjoying it. But this would be the ultimate of 2014, 2015 in the World Superbike. Let's say on the stage for World Superbike. This is a 2002 model, and as the Nintendo Trivalis signed it, they only made 400 of these bikes, and their sponsors on the bike is pretty much what the bike is crazy. It's like for 2001. I get on this and I'm riding the Era Superbike. This is a replica of the bike, and he won in 2001. He won on this bike, World Superbike, and some of the races, like Bayless was racing against Colin Edwards, the Texan, and on the world stage, and like it's had different eras, and Ducati be on top for so many years, and then with a phenomenal rider, and then that rider will retire or something, and then someone else will come along, and it's rider, bike, and setup. And then as the bikes evolve. Downstairs I have a couple of Suzukis I can show you that are the original fastest bikes that just started coming out. This is my games room.
Yeah.
It's kind of obviously racing. It was my life for so long, but
Awesome.
pretty much I've either met everyone on the stage here, or I've ridden with them, or some of them are the World Super. There's Colin Edwards there back in 03. But Doug Poland was World Superbike rider on a Ducati, and Doug, I hung out with him. He came up here to the Northwest and he rode at me. And Doug here, he's signing this poster, and he says, "To Lash, the most happening arsehole I know." So I've ridden with the best. You know, Doug taught me. You know, it taught me. I did track days with him. So, and World Superbike class rider. So I've met Rossi. I've met them all, and got all these signed. All the signatures I have on the wall here, they're all signed personally to me. And some Aaron Yates there. He's pretty famous from the early 2000s in America, but that's his suit. When I broke my elbow, he scraped his arse on the ground in the same turn, and he gave me the letters.
That's awesome.
So that was down in Infineon. Yeah, so some good times racing, that's for sure. You know, and I still get out on the track, so I still get out there with it and help out with the novice school. We always raced WIMRA, which is Washington, and then OMRA, which is Oregon. I always raced the two series, and then I went down to California and raced the Cup series down there. And then I raced the AMA Superbike races around the country. So the bikes are just crazy. Like what we were playing with, let's say in 07, 08, we were traction control was just coming in, but we had traction control. We had capability of traction control. I shut mine off, and most of the top riders did, and it just wasn't working for us. It was actually making me slower. So I just turned it off, but everyone would see that I had a Bazaz on my bike. Didn't really want to name the name, but that was the Bazaz was the aftermarket, and with the Yosh box and the Yosh, which is Yoshimura for Suzuki. But I raced Suzuki and then I raced Ducati. But it's so much fun. But it's the rider, it's the intuition, and you do what you tell your bike to do, and your bike gives you feedback. And then you go to your crew and you say, yeah, this isn't working, and they fire things back and forth, and then you make a decision, and then you make a change, and you go out and you hit it faster. You know, you get a faster lap. I'm talking 1/10, 20 hundredths of a second, you know, for a lap, and you just lap after lap after lap. So
I feel like my bikes are inferior now.
Yeah, you know.
I was gonna include my bikes in this, but oh, I love this bar. This is
This is amazing.
this is my own little Irish pub.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, and every time I travel, I'm bringing home something different. So Mexico was the last trip.
Yeah.
I got a couple of new bottles of tequila.
Yeah.
You actually don't even you can't even buy this.
Yeah, no, I already.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, go turn your bikes back.
Obviously, bicycling now, I do this because you've got to keep fit, you know.
Yeah.
But this, I wish I did more of this when I did this. Because when you go out on a race, you got a 28 lap race, you'll always fade, or the next rider will fade, and you say, I always sit in 8th place or 10th place in a national race, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to get him, I'll just wait, let him get tired, and then I'll pass him on the turn that he's just not got his fitness. And in 07, I was 5.5% body fat. My nutritionist flew with me, and she came on the plane and watched what I was eating from Wednesday, and promotion day, and then Thursday, Friday, ready for basically qualifying on Saturday, and all my races were so well planned nutrition wise, so I had the energy for the race on Saturday and Sunday.
Man.
So that's what the world level. That's what they're doing all the time, you know. So era of bikes here, you basically got there's 5 of them here, and my favorite that I ride a lot is this. It's the 87. But these are two 750s and then 3 1100s. I don't know if you remember the 1100s when they came out.
Oh, yeah.
Most of these didn't survive. They crashed the first year because they're so fast and they're so powerful. You know, 130 horsepower for a bike that on tires and everything else that came with it. Like you literally, if you bought these for 6 or 8 grand at the time in the 80s, you had to spend 6 or 8 grand on them just to get them to do something on the racetrack. But they were quite capable the way they were to put GP tires on. I got oval pistons in this one, which just really pumps it up, like 2 mil over with oval pistons.
So the progression of superbikes is a lot like supercars. The way the technology goes, and just
weight as well. So it'd be weight and suspension. You know, the basically how it tracks the road.
Say you get on this one, it's probably a completely different beast than one on the end over there.
It would. Yeah. The two at the end here. This is like 250. So this is 250 two-stroke. And these are RGB 250 SPs, which is super production. So these would be a production bike that they actually race in Japan, and they didn't race anywhere else. So these are Japanese bikes, Japanese plates are the registrations on them. But I bought them from another guy that brought them in the country at the time when you could, but you can't even buy two-strokes for the street riding. These are very unique. But I'll ride around like back in the mid 2000s. I'll ride them, and people will just go, like, there'll be 100,000 people at the racetrack in Laguna Seca, and I see people's faces going, "Holy fuck!" And they'd be so excited looking at the bike, you know. So
It's amazing.
yeah, I have a Harley. I hit 50 and I bought a Harley. Never had a Harley before, so it was just going cheap, so I bought it. And, my daily runner is the Multistrada there, that Ducati, and that's just a fun. That is like lose your license, you know, type of fun.
That's the one you rode in the Ducati video, right?
No, that was the one upstairs.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, the one in the Ducati video is upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know that's a $85,000 motorcycle. Yeah. They'll spend millions on development to put something as a production bike on the street, and then they'll sell it to riders that have done well on Ducatis, and we've won on them. We'll be first on the list, World Superbike guys, and then and like, you know, Jay Leno has to get one. You know, I mean, a lot of times he was trying to get number 1, and then they finally gave it to Jay for the Desmond Sedici, and then you had Tom Cruise because Mission Impossible, and then you had Brad Pitt. So you had the two of them fighting for number 2, and they were like squabbling about it. So it's pretty funny how, you know, you just hear them stories from Italy where they build the bikes, but it's fun, you know, and it's fun being on the stage. You know, I was on the stage with it and I enjoyed it, and you know, you're still enjoying it, you know, even the stories.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, what a life.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your stories with us.
Yeah, I'll show you something new that I'm doing as well. You know much about plunging, like cold plunging?
No.
I get in this
cold
every day,
plunging.
twice a day.
Oh my God!
So I'll break the ice. This comes on for 2 hours at night and 2 hours in the midday, and I'll just come in with my hatchet there and I'll just break this ice.
Okay.
I'll set my timer here and I'll jump in for 10 minutes and cold plunging.
That's Alan is a lot more of a man than we are.
Yeah.
Well,
That's for sure.
What it is, this is you're a business owner. We all have stress, like stresses of just business.
Yeah.
Stresses of life. Yeah, like even, you know, through COVID, everything like that. I actually got COVID. I was still jumping in there twice a day, 10 minutes at a time. And I make videos online, and you know, I post them online and kind of have a bit of a following going. But yeah, it's a reset for the brain. When your phone doesn't work, you switch it off, switch it on again. That's what this does to your brain. And just completely, like, you know, I've got injuries from motorcycle racing, but this fixes it. This actually, the nervous system, the central sympathetic nervous system, it's all governed by your brain and the reaction and stress and everything. And by getting in here, you switch all that off and you reboot. So you got
Break time.
Yeah.
What's the story on this guy?
I have to put it back together again. I had an accident on it. What happened was 2 bolts dropped out here, and it rolled down on the tire. I'm doing 70 mile an hour on I-90 going down to 405.
Oh Jesus!
And the back tire stuck to the road. So I was like doing 70, 75 and I just held it and just held it right to the very end, and about 30 mile an hour it started fishtailing and I had to throw it away. And the next day I was going to Britain. I was going to London. And I said, I don't want to fucking break anything. And I kicked the bike away and it literally flipped up on the handlebars. Like see, it was on the handlebars and then it just fell over. So it fell over on this side. So there's not much damage, and you know, the aesthetic wise, like this doesn't have any gauges, doesn't have anything. So I need a new set of handlebars. Just I'll replace that. It's a little bit bent, and then just paint, you know, fix it up again. But I'll get this put back together again, and I'll write it down to you.
Love to see it.
Right on.
Thanks.
Yes!
I got my swords, my Highlander swords. So they're all just different eras. There's Viking, there's Celtic, there's like 12th century, 7th, 8th, 12th, and there's some pirate there from the 1700s. An English sword over here, but these
like
are,
actual?
they're copies. So,
Okay.
So this would be the Highlander sword, but just feel that, just think that why these guys were 7 foot tall, and they had to swing them things around in battle, you know. They're heavy and they're
They gotta choke up on this thing.
they had to swing him around, but then this is a British, huh? Did that fall off? Yeah, it did. You have to weld it. Wow. But this is a British one because the British were a lot smaller, so they had to have a more nimble sword. You know, there could be only one. Yeah. So yeah, this is from the movie. Actually, this is the movie The Highlander. This is I forget now. I'll think of it in a second.
Oh, you do need backing this, don't we?
There's so many cars that people don't even know exist just because of patents and whatnot. I don't know anything about the car actually, and that's why it's so cool. I get to see things I've never seen before, and I get to learn about them. So I'll be doing research on a midget too. We're kind of holding off on some of the other stuff until we get glass removed, so we can finalize all the interior, because it's got to go in steps.
This car, when we got it, had this abysmal wrap on it, and it was god awful. It was the worst thing ever. And they wrapped the calipers too. I've hated looking at these calipers for the longest time, but I didn't want them to get overspray on them when we took it to the body shop to get painted. Now that it's back from paint after about 2 weeks, we're starting to put it together. I'm going to peel the wrap off of all the calipers and show just the beautiful yellow that's actually underneath instead of this hideous green stuff. That looks a whole lot better now. Brand new, fucking $6,000 worth of wheels and tires, and that's how the body shop treats it. And I told them too, I'm like, this one wheel is still new, please don't.
I told you we should have gotten socks for it.
I don't know. Now Steve's repaired everything, wiring wise in the back here. Everything's now functional. Park Place has my glass now. So the tailgate's all fitted. Steve's got the button working. So that's all good. We'll get the taillights put in it and corner lights, and that should be it for the back end for today until we get glass.
Where'd the other ones go? Did you take those?
I didn't take anything.
Are you sure Steve wasn't here?
Steve might have been here. So if he lost it, look right in front of you. That's probably where it's at. So these are the carbon fiber mirror caps that I got that were made in Poland. And I'm trying to figure out how to install them properly. Because if you look at the original one, there's retaining clips that hold it in and keep it in place. And this one doesn't have those. So I'm not sure. It doesn't quite fit over the old one. So I'm gonna have to reach out to the guys in Poland on Monday and see how this goes, because I don't want to put it on the car and I mean, I don't want to glue it. I mean, I guess the rest of the car is glued together. I could do that, but it will look cool once we figure it out. Are you almost done with the taillights so I can clean your greasy fingerprints off?
Yeah. We're all done here. Buttoned up, good to go.
Fingerprints, smudges.
Damn it.
Be professional, Antonio. This isn't Mako. No, we had two. Steve.
Wonderful Steve. Put them right in front of our faces so we wouldn't find them. Before we went to paint, I don't know if anybody remembers, but I had cut out the antenna a square piece so that we could fabricate another piece off of the old car and get that all buttoned in. And I have to say, Mako did amazing. Is it me?
No, it's not you. I think it's off a little bit to the right. Here, what's your gap over there compared to here?
I'm definitely wider.
When the body shop took the tailgate off to get a better paint line down in here and around, they didn't get it back on just perfect. So it's just minor things like that that make a difference in a fantastic rebuild and a hacked rebuild. I mean, it's just little stuff like that goes a long ways. I'm here. I'm not sure where the entrance to this castle is.
Lower the drawbridge, please.